Good evening and welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Tonight we talk about the women's basketball team media day, the men's soccer team's historic upset, and how the men's basketball team spent its Halloween.
We will also discuss the recent headlines around the NBA and highlights from Week 8 in the NFL. So get ready, Marquette Nation, because Golden Eagle Sports Report starts right now.
From the Jeannie Hayes Virtual Studio at Marquette University, this is Golden Eagle Sports Report.
Marquette gets the rebound, and the champions have gone down!
Hello everyone, I'm Kylie Getz.
And I'm Andrew Muzu.
The men's basketball team hosted its Haunted Hoops event on Sunday.
The players, along with some spooky fans, celebrated Halloween in style. Kristen Parisi reports.
It's a thrilling morning at the Al McGuire Center. A morning of costume contests and trick-or-treating as the Marquette men's basketball team hosts a Haunted Hoops special. 4 days before their first exhibition match, the Golden Eagles host their own inter-squad scrimmage in front of fans for the first time this semester. The white team heats up early, going on an 8-0 run to start the day. But the blue team will not go down without a fight as graduate student Kurt Queth scores 15 points in a glamorous fashion. Dunking through the paint and blocking shots, Queth displays the benefits of his 6'10" frame.
He's one of the best shot blockers I've seen. I've played with or against. Kurt. The thing with Kurt is that he's so long and athletic. It's really hard to dunk on him, and I just try to challenge him every time because I know it's going to get me and him better.
The white team holds on as redshirt first-year forward Olivier Maxence Prosper chips in 19 points to help lead the white team to a dominating 72-52 victory. First-year guard Cam Jones adds on 15 more points, impressing his coach and the team.
You know, he plays with a lot of confidence. I would say of all of our freshmen, he's definitely the furthest ahead in terms of just having an understanding of what he can do out there and not doubting it at all.
The Golden Eagles host Bowie State on Thursday for their first scrimmage of the year as the team inches closer to the start of their basketball season.
Well, Greg, he told me, it's going to be fun, really. Just walking in a 5 for practice gives me a little energy, so I can only imagine what it's going to be for the games. Just got to get there, settle down, and just play basketball.
Reporting from the Al McGuire Center, I'm Kristen Parisi, Marquette Wire Sports.
The women's basketball team had its media day last Wednesday. Let's take a look at what head coach Megan Duffy had to say.
I learned a long time ago from some of my mentors that every year is so different, and I think we still have some things to work out within our personnel with a couple new players. We know some of our losses from last year, and just trying to build the chemistry first and foremost. If you watch practice today, you can see they're dripping wet with just the work they're putting in, and we're trying to just navigate through figuring out our offense a little different maybe than last year, and then defensively just having a really tough, hard-nosed mentality. That has been the staple of what we've done since I've gotten here, being able to play both sides of the ball, and I think I'm okay with where we're at, but I'm really happy to have a few more weeks of practice before the opener.
And for more insights on both the men's and women's basketball teams, we now want to welcome in executive sports editor John Liuzzi. John, it's glad to see you.
It's great to be here, Andrew.
So we're going to start out with the women's team.
Mm-hmm.
What were your biggest takeaways from the media day?
I think the biggest takeaways is that this team for Marquette is very experienced coming back into this brand new season, and it's the most experienced head coach Megan Duffy has had in her 3 years here at Marquette. Now, that does not mean that they're still trying to find themselves and their identity throughout this year. So that's the really big thing we're going to be able to see from the Golden Eagles come next Tuesday's season opener against Alcorn State. A fresh new starting lineup. You really only have Jordan King and Lauren Van Clunen coming back in the starting lineup. So a lot of new people to an offense that was up and down in the scoring last year. Their defense is what's going to hold them as well, and that's what they've been working on a lot during the practice.
They have Alcorn State coming up. but they also have some huge games coming up, and 7 of them are going to be nationally broadcasted. What are your thoughts on that?
That's fantastic. Not just for Marquette women's basketball, not for the Big East women's basketball, but for women's basketball in the entire country as a whole. You know me, we've been talking about finding more equality ever since the NCAA event in San Antonio last year, and this is the step right in the right direction for women's basketball. So for Marquette to be on 7 nationally televised broadcasts, mostly coming from the Fox Sports package within the Big East, is great. It adds exposure, it adds attention, and this is what women's basketball is all about. We're able to highlight these women who are very talented, and most importantly, when the game on Fox against UConn, that's going to be on the main Fox. That's only been the 3rd time in the country, in the history, has happened, Andrew. So making history in Milwaukee.
Circling that on the calendar.
Oh, absolutely.
For
you
sure.
know me.
And you know another team that's getting a lot of attention is the men's team. You were at the Haunted Hoops event, so what players stood out to you in the scrimmage?
I think I have to go with the first-year guard, Cam Jones, and he is one of 2 recruits that was recruited to come here to Marquette under the former head coach, Steve Wojciechowski, and his staff, and he ended up staying with Shaka Smart and his staff, and he talked about the importance of the relationship Coach Smart has had with him since he made his decision to stay here at Marquette, but he was just so poised, and you're seeing in the highlights right now, he was not afraid to take some deep three-pointers. His passing was very crisp, and you heard it in the clip in Kristen's package that out of all the first-year guards and all the first years on this team, he's the most advanced. He's ahead of the curve, and he's showing that confidence, and that's big for a first-year guard coming from high school, because you know the jump from high school down in Tennessee is not going to be the same basketball you're going to be seeing in the Big East. And he's in the spot for a starting point guard spot. Sunday, pretty good, impressive, and he had a 15.
He's definitely a player to watch. But it wasn't just about the players. It was about the fans as well. So what was the best costume that you saw from the event?
I'm going to go a little bit with a homer pick kind of here, and I have to go with Little Iggy, the Golden Eagle. Little Iggy. And you see the photo right over here. Look how cute that is. Come on. I mean, you saw that coming right down the stairs and down the stands. I mean, they won that costume won the contest for best costume at the Owl that day. So, I mean, just look at that.
I see
the
she's wearing
dedication.
A mask. She's wearing a mask too.
Yeah.
You see that?
Homemade costume right there.
Homemade.
It doesn't get better than that. Homemade. I mean, unpopular opinion, maybe.
Well, John, I think that's a little biased. I mean,
I don't know, Andrew.
Superman, some
I mean, there was a lot of great costumes. There was even Buzz Lightyear there. Little baby Yoda. That was a pretty good one too.
Well, hopefully, I wish I was there to see it.
I mean, I didn't have a costume. I felt a little left out. I left out.
It's all right, John. But thank you so much for coming on. But when we come back, we'll be looking at the men's soccer remarkable upset, along with other updates from the women's soccer and volleyball teams. So keep it right here after the break.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
After you joined our family, it was like, I really do feel complete now.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Roll over. When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique. And your mother. They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
Every day,
Millions of people are connecting. Father,
cosplayer,
mentor,
actor. It's time we take a step forward, come together,
and discover
how accepting our differences
can make us stronger.
And welcome back to Golden Eagle Sports Report. Once again, I'm Andrew Muzu.
And I'm Kylie Getz.
The men's soccer team celebrates senior night in historic fashion, upsetting #1 ranked Georgetown Saturday night.
This is the first time in program history that the men beat the #1 team in the country. Molly Gretzlock has more.
It's a special night for the Marquette men's soccer team. It's the final regular season game, welcoming in the #1 ranked team in the country and senior night. Both teams struggled to find the back of the net in the first half. In the 86th minute, redshirt sophomore A.J. Franklin scores the only goal Marquette needs to secure victory. The Hoyas have a chance to tie moments later, but redshirt junior goalkeeper Chandler Hallwood blocks both attempts and seals the fate of the game. The Golden Eagles hold on to defend the #1 team in the nation.
And they're a really good team, obviously #1 in the country, and we knew we had to beat them, so we wanted to protect Valley, protect our home field, and we came out with the W.
Hallwood earns a career-high 9 saves and collects his 3rd clean sheet of the season.
It's another game to me, really. I like being busy. I've always said that I like doing stuff. I don't like being stood there not doing much, and then when I'm called upon, I like being busy, so I'm always active. I don't like that, just that one moment. I like being there the whole game, and that's what I did tonight.
Marquette now waits on the results of final games around the league in hopes of securing a bid into the Big East tournament.
And I said this would be an emotional day, and we had to keep all of our emotions in check. And what a way to send our seniors out.
Reporting from Valley Fields, I'm Molly Gretzlock, Marquette Wire Sports.
And what a moment for sure. The Marquette women's soccer team sends off their senior class on a high note. The Golden Eagles finish their season with a 2-1 win over DePaul. Tyler Peters has the story.
While the rain is falling, the tears are dropping. 10 Marquette women's soccer players suit up one final time as the Golden Eagles celebrate senior night prior to its match against the DePaul Blue Demons. Just 10 minutes in, DePaul strikes first as first-year forward Katie Godden buries across from Grace Philpotts. The Golden Eagles answer right back, however, with a goal from redshirt first-year forward Elsie Twombly. In the 40th minute, redshirt junior Katrina Weatherall scores her 5th goal of the season to give Marquette a 2-1 lead going into halftime. The Golden Eagles are able to hold on the rest of the way, closing out the season with a victory.
The best feeling in the world for a coach is to have a team who wants to keep playing. None of these girls wanted to end. The seniors didn't want it to end, and they showed it out here by winning it.
Despite the win, Marquette is officially eliminated from the Big East tournament after Providence's win over Seton Hall earlier in the day.
We build the foundation. You know, I think the foundation of this program is really strong right now. Somebody told me a house isn't built in one day. You know, you got to brick by brick, and all these bricks are starting to fit into place. How lucky am I to be able to end our season with the W?
Reporting from Valley Fields, I'm Tyler Peters, Marquette Wire Sports.
Future endeavors, and remember, you are always...
The Marquette volleyball team opens its 2-game homestand with a 3-1 loss to number 19 Creighton on Friday. I was there to recap the action.
The Marquette Golden Eagles fall to Creighton Blue Jays in 4 sets in the first match of a 2-game homestand. While fans are ready to watch this close matchup, they are also ready for Halloween. The first 2 sets of the night are tight battles between the two teams. The Blue Jays came in early and took the first set 25-23. In the second set, the Golden Eagles quickly respond and rallied from a 16-11 deficit, winning the second set 25-23.
We got some momentum going and would have liked to carry it to the third, but and we seem to be playing from behind all day today.
Coming in strong during the third and fourth set, Creighton takes control and comes out on top, winning 25-12 in the third set and 25-20 in the fourth. Graduate student Hope Wirch is looking to tie Marquette's program record of 177 service aces with just one more left. Creighton hands over Marquette's first loss since October 10th. Both the Golden Eagles and the Blue Jays are now tied atop the Big East standings with identical 9-2 records.
So both teams just kept siding out, and it wasn't quick plays, it was long volleys and patience. And, they just do a really good job of executing.
From the Al McGuire Center, I'm Kylie Getz, Marquette Wire Sports.
And in their match on Saturday, Hope Wirch got the record. So props to her on that. A great moment for her.
Yeah, that's truly is a great accomplishment.
Yeah.
Now coming up, we dive into the Chicago Bulls' hot start again and the New York Jets' upset over the Cincinnati Bengals.
You don't want to miss it. GSR will be right back.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
There are a lot of ways to reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Meet the Scan, a simple procedure whose mission is to detect lung cancer early.
I'm here to save you.
But I feel fine.
That's great, but you may still be at high risk for lung cancer.
Oh man, that's a new fence.
If you smoke, early detection could save your life. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
It all can get so out of control. Sometimes you can lose your faith, you can lose your mind, lose your grip, get stripped of your pride till you don't know how you're gonna stay alive. Hey, hey, I got you. I will give you what you need, and I'll be right there. I got you back. I got you.
And we're back in Studio 7 as we will talk about the biggest surprises and latest updates on the NBA as well as highlights in Week 8 of the NFL. Joining me on the panel tonight is the staple, Matt Yazel, Johnny Brooker, and last but not least, Aiden Haddon. Guys, let's just get it started. So, starting with the NBA, over the weekend, the Chicago Bulls gave the Utah Jazz their first loss of the season. Is this Bulls team going to be able to maintain their hot start? Be careful with your words, Matt, here.
Andrew, I'm not sold on this Bulls team just yet. We're early on in the season.
Okay.
I like some of the things I've seen from them. They made some good moves. I will say the Bulls, I think, have encouraged their fan base more so than the last previous years with some of the moves they made. DeMar DeRozan, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso. But I'm just not sold on them as a team just yet. I think my biggest problem is just who is the go-to option when you need a guy to just give the ball to and score at the end of the game. And I think a big example of why I have a problem with that is the end of their one loss so far this year.
Oh, gosh,
but against those Knicks, I mean, look at the guy on the graphic right there, DeMar DeRozan. He got all air on a shot that at the end of the game to try to win that game. And I'm concerned with the shooting on this team. I don't think Lonzo Ball is a great shooting point guard. He does a lot of other things well. DeMar DeRozan's not a great shooter. So I have some concerns about this team in terms of how they stack up against the other top teams in the East. I think Brooklyn can score a lot more points than them in those matchups. I think Milwaukee can. I think.
Milwaukee. Okay.
I think so. They got 2 games against the Sixers coming up. That'll be interesting. So I'm not sold just yet on this Bulls team.
Oh, Matt. Well, you had to bring up New York, so I must bring up this. So I lost the bet to Kristen Parisi, who is a Knicks fan. You know, the Bulls, they lost to the Knicks, but they play them 3 more times. But I will say that the Knicks, they're a great team. Obviously, you just mentioned that. You know, that was their only loss. So the Bulls could be 7-0, and you're still not impressed. That doesn't make any sense, which is why I am repping my Bulls socks. I gotta rep them out. I don't know if there's a camera can see that.
Oh, there we
go. Come on now. You can't. Thank you. Look at that. Come on now. I had to. I know it looked a little wacky in B block, but anyway. I know you're talking about Lonzo Ball, and he's been improving his shot for the team, but DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are really proving that they can connect well. DeMar DeRozan dropping 37 points against your Boston Celtics. DeMar, I say it. DeMar, I like it. I'm liking this team. But tell me about that game.
You like the team. I love the wordplay. DeMar DeRozan, all those guys gelling together, I think will be the biggest key for the Chicago team. And I thought beginning of this year, they were kind of the year behind of last year's New York Knicks that kind of surprised the entire NBA. This year, losing Patrick Williams early on in the season,
I was going to say that hurts
might
their
really
depth.
hurt because especially on the rebounding side of the X's and O's side of things, the Bulls are 29th right now in the NBA in rebounding percentage. So that may come back to haunt them.
Vucevic, their big man down low, great scorer, but he has struggled at times. He hasn't been as advertised this season. So he's a key factor as well in that rebounding as well.
What do you got to say for yourself, Johnny?
Well, with Chicago Bulls, I think they can continue this fast start. But on this locomotive train that's moving real fast, I think it can slowly, like I said earlier, it can fall off because, like you said, their depth. Alex Caruso, he is their 6th man, and he's only averaging 8 points. I think we need a little bit more out of him at this point in the season. As the season progresses, they have to stay healthy. If they don't, then you know what's going to happen.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Tell us.
They'll be a 7th, 8th seed in the Eastern Conference.
And that's fine. But
fine?
I think that's fine.
So you want to play Milwaukee in the first round of playoffs?
I think that's fine. I think we'll give them a really good run, and I think we could possibly upset Milwaukee.
Especially
if there's an injury.
At the most, I give the game 5.
Oh wow! Okay, we'll have to see who's 6-1. I don't know.
It's the second week of the season.
He's not necessarily a scorer though.
He's not.
So 8 points is fine. He's almost leading the league in steals.
But really, Chicago Bulls, their team is their starting lineup.
Yes.
Take them out the equation. Who do they have? Kobe White.
I guess. I don't know.
Lots coming up.
But going over to a former Bulls player and former Marquette basketball player, Jimmy Butler, he has been on fire in Miami with the Heat, no pun intended, and was recently named Player of the Week. Is he the most impressive player in the NBA to this point, Aiden?
I think we should name Andrew the anchor of the week after 2 straight word plays. After this, on fire with the Heat. Yes, I think undoubtedly he's been a leading MVP candidate this year, on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball. We've seen him put a lot more effort into these early games in October and November than we've seen maybe since going back to his Marquette career.
Ooh, going back to his Marquette career. Well, I mean, he is #1 in Basketball Reference MVP ladder. So how impressive can that be? Can he actually win it, do you think?
I think he can. It's a kind of a thought. There's always, I feel like, one player at the end of every NBA season that we don't think of as a potential MVP candidate. Right. But obviously, Jimmy Butler has that pedigree of playing years and years in the NBA, and obviously coming from Marquette as well. We can't ignore that. And I know that's kind of a polarizing take right now. Will he be there at the end of the year because of all the effort he's putting in right now in these first few weeks?
What do you think about Jimmy Butler?
Well, in this last week, he's been 4-0 with Miami Heat. He's averaging close to 30 points a game, almost a double-double, almost 10 rebounds, 8 to be exact. But in Miami, they're balling right now. But Jimmy, as an early favorite to an MVP, I don't think so. You forgot. I think Nikola Jokic, he's gonna repeat as MVP. That's my opinion. He's playing well right now.
Okay.
Because he's the Western Conference Player of the Week as well.
Okay.
Because Jimmy Butler
won
it.
So no Kevin Durant.
No.
Kevin Durant doesn't live in your world at all.
No.
Wow.
No.
What do you have to say about this?
Well, Jimmy Butler, I don't see as an MVP candidate whatsoever.
Wow.
I look,
Not even a candidate.
he's a great player. He does a lot of things well, and he's leading a good Miami Heat team right now. I'll give him credit. But he's just not a consistent enough scorer for me to give him credit for MVP. Okay. I think you often see him just taking bad shots and not shooting a high percentage and taking too many threes. Why does Jimmy Butler ever shoot a three? I don't know. He can't. He's just not a good enough scorer for me. He'll go on runs like this. We're averaging 28 a game over the last 4 games. You see that sometimes, but then you see the bad version of Jimmy Butler, I think, too often for him to win MVP over an entire season.
Well, it's good that he's not shooting threes because, but you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wow. So you have to take them. If they're letting you shoot them, you might as well, but not even an
They got
MVP
other options
candidate?
on that team, though, to shoot. They got Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, Kyle Lowry now. Pass the ball a little more, Jimmy. That's what I'm saying.
But to continue that point, these last few seasons, when you look at Jimmy Butler, he goes on these spurts playing high-level basketball with his IQ level being up there, but then he just goes blank.
Yep.
Speaking of IQ, his press conference today said Duncan Robinson was the dumbest player in the NBA, which is quite the insult.
Hey, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy.
Hey, just spot up and shoot. That's all you got to do. That's really all you got to do.
Oh, man. But moving over to the NFL, Saints starting quarterback Jameis Winston and MVP caliber running back Derrick Henry are both out for the season. Which loss will prove to be more significant, John?
For me, I think it's Tennessee Titans losing Derrick Henry, and that is because he is their team. When you think of the Tennessee Titans, the first player you think of is Derrick Henry. I don't know they just signed Adrian Peterson. We don't know what he's going to do. I think he will be all right, but he's not Derrick Henry.
He's getting up there.
He's a future Hall of Fame, don't get me wrong.
He is.
But he's not Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry, he's guaranteed to give you 100 yards. Again, you're guaranteed a touchdown out of him every single game. Defenses, they make their game plan around Derrick Henry every single game. So I think that's a big loss compared to Jameis Winston going down for New Orleans.
Are you agreeing with him?
Yeah, I'll agree. Just because Derrick Henry is the best running back in the NFL. I think just his ability to just power through any defender you put in front of him is a huge loss for Tennessee. And I think also just because Ryan Tannehill, even with those big weapons he has at wide receiver, A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, he's just not a guy who can carry you to a win, like an Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, you name him. He's just not quite that kind of guy for me. I will say, though, with Jameis Winston, I think that plays a big factor in the NFC, right? We just saw the Saints kind of upset the Buccaneers, and now I think that division just becomes even easier for the Bucs to win. And so I will say that plays a big factor in the NFC. Trevor Siemian, not really a guy you put a ton of faith in for the Saints. So both are big, but I will say it's really tough for the Titans to lose a guy like that.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. If they beat the Buccaneers, it's just one game. We don't expect them to do that in the playoffs.
Yeah, of course. That's what happened last year. They beat them twice in the regular season. Then what happened when Tom Brady came to New Orleans in the playoffs? They didn't go well. Yeah.
I'll give you a couple numbers, guys. 219 total carries through 8 weeks that Derrick Henry had. That's the most in NFL history. So undoubtedly, that's a bigger loss for Tennessee with Derrick Henry than it is with Jameis Winston. And I agree with what you were saying, Matt, about the Saints. We've seen them have Tom Brady's number in the regular season. But when it comes to the playoffs, obviously we know what's going to happen. So the Titans looked like a real playoff contender with beating the Chiefs and beating the Bills in back-to-back weeks.
I think a Super Bowl contender, really, with a healthy Derrick Henry.
But that's obviously the majority of their team and obviously their offense as well, so that'll be the bigger loss.
Wow. Poor Jameis Winston. Derrick Henry has you beat on this one. But, guys, thank you so much for this great discussion. We're out of time, but be sure to tune in next week for all our coverage of Marquette Sports and more. For Kylie Getz, I'm Andrew Muzu. Good night, Marquette.